overhead sweeps are fantastic. There's nothing quite so good as being on your back and then throwing the guy and then ending up on top of the mount, which is where most overhead sweeps take you. We typically show 3 different setups for the overhead sweep. One, the Tomoe-nage throw in judo, where we do a sacrifice throw and throw them over as we sit. The second is the classic, we try the ankle dump from the guard, and they sit down to defend the ankle dump, and so then we peel their elbows to take them over our head. But another really powerful setup is from the outside hook guard, particularly when I have the collar and sleeve. The reason that this is useful is that we always want to have their hand trapped and take them toward that post. This is really much easier in the gi because you can grab a sleeve, but it works in no gi and it even works in MMA. There are some UFC fights where overhead sweeps have been hit. You can see those on our website if you want to check it out. But typically, from the outside hook guard, I want to have the collar and the sleeve. And so the sleeve is the way, you know which way I want to take him? By the way that I have the sleeve, because if I were to take him that way, he goes to sleeve. The collar is to break his posture. And so there are many, many different options we can do from the outside hook guard, right? Tripod sweep, sickle sweep, there are bolo, triangles, arm bars, omoplatas, things of that nature. But often what we're trying to do is play with their base like this by pushing them back. We can do some sit-up sweeps and stuff. Well, often what I'll want by doing this is by baiting them to come into me. If they don't come into me, there's a way I can bring them into me. But the most important part of this movement is a fundamental back roll movement that most jiu-jitsu schools warm up before class with. So because I'm going to take him to my left, as I bring him forward, I'm going to move my head to my right and roll over my left shoulder. So I push Jesse, he comes back into me, I roll. End up on top generally in the mounted position. Now you might have saw what I did with my inside hook. So my outside hook here, I'm pulling him forward a little with this and giving a little lift, but most of the lift comes from his motion into me and my own rolling. If he's reluctant or if he realizes he's messed up by pushing into me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle this way. This hook's going to come behind and I'm going to pull him toward me to force him to come into me. So I'm trying to get him to come into me by pushing him away and getting a reaction. But if I don't get the reaction I want, or if he's like, oh, I messed up, we're going to pull him forward with this. Vicente Jr., who's an amazing 5th degree black belt, I think, showed me this. He's a master at it. So I'm going to grab the sleeve, I'm going to grab the collar. I'm going to push my buddy away. Let's say he's like, man, I'm hip to your tricks. I'm going to pull, and now as I pull him, super easy to flip him over. I'm going to try to maintain connection with him with both of my hooks so that it's easy to come up to the mount like this. And of course, once we come up into the mount, we can keep the sleeve to start attacking with the arm lock. So like I mentioned, overhead sweeps are really powerful. How you get them is you get your hips underneath their hips. So for all of the sweeps that I mentioned, there's also one from Spider Guard that we'll show. So for all the sweeps that I mentioned, like Tomoe-nage, we shoot our hips underneath them, throw them over our head. From this guard or from Spider Guard, we're going to push them away, then pull their hips forward so that their hips are over our hips. And from there, it's just a simple back roll.